All right, let's talk about a hanger drill. So a hanger drill is meant for somebody who has either a weak grip or a strong grip or even a neutral grip. It's meant for somebody who has an open face, a club face that's too closed. It's meant for somebody who hits the ball too high because they add too much loft, or they hit the ball too low because they de-loft the club too much. It's meant for somebody who hits hooks, and it's meant for somebody who hits slices. It's meant for somebody who hits pushes. It's meant for somebody who hits pulls. Basically, if you have issues with your club face, whether it's a loft issue or more importantly, it's a direction issue because your face is getting too open or it's getting too closed in some way, shape, or form, a hanger drill is meant for you. Now, what is a hanger drill? Well, first off, I was shown this by George Gankis. I don't know if he invented it or not. He was the first person I definitely saw and learned it from. I think it's the most brilliant drill I've ever seen. In my opinion, there is no universal drill in golf or universal training aid, but if there was one, this is probably as close as it gets because controlling our club face is absolutely paramount if we're going to be a good golfer and get our ball on line and curve it the way we want. So the way we work on a hanger drill is this. We have a clothes hanger here, and by the way, I like just using a plastic clothes hanger from your closet. Get something like an old 7-iron, 8-iron, 9-iron, something with loft, take an old clothes hanger and tape it on the side of your club. I think it has the right amount of texture, right amount of firmness. It just works better than most other things, in my opinion. So I would recommend this over anything else. And it's so cheap too, because it only costs you a quarter, 50 cents in order to set this up. But here's how we do this. We're going to tape a clothes hanger on the side of our club. Now, if this is where my club face is, for right-handed golfers, it's going to go on the right side of our grip on this side, which is where the club is initially taped towards. And then the hanger is either going to be straight up and down, leaning slightly towards the target, or more likely than anything, angled away from it. Now, where this hanger is angled is going to depend on a couple factors. Number one, how strong or weak our grip is. And number two, how much are we going to lean the shaft forward at impact? We'll talk about those things in just a moment. But for me personally, I have a relatively neutral grip to a slightly weak grip. For me, with me having close to a neutral grip and having a decent amount of forward shaft lean, I like my hanger to be about 15 to 20 degrees to the right of the club face over here. That's where I like it. I would say most players are going to be somewhere around where I have this hanger right now in relationship to the club face. Now, that's not for everybody. Some people are going to have this hanger be more straight up and down in this direction where it's more on top of the club like this. Some players are going to have their hanger twisted more away from the target to the right in this direction because they have a stronger grip or they need more shaft lean. Why is that the case? Well, let me get to that in 1 second. Let me first explain what the purpose of this hanger is, and then I'll explain how to adjust it for yourselves. The purpose of this hanger is to help us feel and identify where the club face is. Right now, when I set up like normal, I'll get a little bit closer. When I set up like normal, this hanger is not touching my forearm right here. However, when I start to bow or flex my lead wrist, you can see the club face gets more closed, and now the hangers going from being not touching to now it's touching my forearm. If I set this hanger up correctly, once that hanger touches, I know my face is in the position I want it to be. If it's not touching, the face is getting too open, and if this hanger is pressing in very tightly, my face is getting too closed. If it has a nice light pressure because I've set it up correctly, I know the hanger is touching properly, and I know my face is getting where I need it to be. So this hanger is going to let me match up however strong or weak my grip is with my wrist angles. That way I can square up the club face, and now I can be consistent every time. If I can make the hanger touch at the same time in my swing with the same pressure, and most importantly, make sure it's touching by the time I get to impact, because I don't want to curl off by impact and open the face or grind in it and close the face. If it's touching with the right pressure by impact, I'm going to have the ability to square up my club face, and I can be very consistent because I'm getting direct tactile feedback into my forearm to tell me that the face is square. If the hanger wasn't here, I'm hoping the face was square. I'm hoping the face was square, or maybe it was square. But when I have the hanger, I can feel it undoubtedly whether that face was getting square or not. So that's the whole point of what this hanger drill is. Now, from there, the question becomes, how do we set up the hanger for ourselves? Because it is a little bit different for everybody. Here's what I mean. If you're close to a neutral grip, well, you can basically copy with where I am with this hanger right here if you have a pretty neutral grip and you like to have some shaft lean in this direction. Let's first adjust your grip strength, then we'll adjust for shaft lean, and then you can try and scale it for your own needs. All things being equal, the weaker your grip is, the more your hands turn towards the target in this direction with a weak grip, watch what happens when I turn my hand in a weaker direction to the left. My hand gets further away from this hanger, which means if it's turned to the right, I'm never going to make this hanger touch. If I did, that face would be dead shut by the time the hanger was touching there. So because our hand is moving towards the target, this hanger needs to turn towards the target as well. If we have a relatively weak grip, this hanger should basically be straight up and down, matching the angle of the club face in this direction. If we had an extremely weak grip, somebody like Matt Wolf or Colin Morikawa, we might even angle the hanger slightly forward towards the target. This is about as weak as you'll ever see somebody do the hanger, but somewhere right around here would be somebody who has a very weak grip, because if, again, my grip is weak and I'm turning my hand over here, I don't need the hanger to be turned away from the target to scrub the face. I need to be more on top so that face can get square. So again, the weaker your grip turns to the left in this direction, the hanger turns towards the target to the left as well. That way you can make the hanger work and make it touch to your forearm during your swing. On the flip side, if we have a stronger grip, if our hands turn away from the target in this direction, or where's my arm going? It's now moving into the hanger automatically. If anything, when I grab the club, there's a lot of pressure already set on this hanger when I have a strong grip. To make sure that's not happening, I twist the hanger now to the right, away from the target, more onto the side of the club in this direction. That way, when I grab the club with a strong grip, it's not touching my forearm yet. It might be close, but it's not touching my forearm over here. And when I do make my wrist go from being very cupped to being a little bit closer to flat, now the hanger can touch. Now my club face gets square and I'm where I want to be. So again, the stronger my grip gets in this direction away from the target, the more my hanger turns to the right as well. That way I have space to make it work for my grip so it can touch properly so my face isn't getting too closed or getting too open. So that's the first way you adjust. The other way you adjust depends on how much shaft lean you have. Shaft lean is, where's our shaft going to be at impact? Is our shaft going to be straight up and down? Is he going to lean forward, or is he going to lean a lot forward? Here's our parameters to look for. We don't want to go past these parameters. We can live somewhere in the middle, but don't go past these two things. As a bare minimum, we want our shaft to be straight up and down by impact. Anytime a player starts to scoop the ball where their club is passing their hands in this direction, they're either going to hit the ball fat, because naturally when I let the club pass my hands, I'm going to hit it fat, or I'm going to miss the ground and now I'm swinging from low to high, hitting it on the upswing, and now I'm going to thin and top everything, and my contact goes out the window. So leaning the shaft back is terrible for contact. It's also terrible for distance, but it's horrendous for contact. So at least getting the shaft straight up and down so we're not scooping the golf ball is the least amount of shaft lean we want to have by impact. I recommend having at least some forward shaft lean, even if it's only a couple degrees, but as a minimum, straight up and down is the least you want to have. On the flip side, the most shaft lean most of us want to have, and only a very few number of people can get away with having more than this, and those players swing extremely fast and they have a lot of loft on their clubs. The most shaft lean we're looking to have is to have our left hand be over our left foot by the time we get to impact in this direction. That's about as much shaft lean we want to have. Why? Because when I lean the shaft forward, if you watch the club face, I am de-lofting the club. I'm turning my 8-iron into a 7-iron, a 6-iron, a 5-iron, a 4-iron. At a certain point, if we de-loft it so much, we're going to have no loft on this club, which is fine if I'm hitting a wedge or a mid-iron, but what if I'm hitting a driver? If a driver has 9 or 10 degrees loft and then I'm leaning the shaft 15, 20 degrees forward, well, my driver's going to have negative loft. It's going to angle down towards the ground. I'm going to get no spin, no height. I can't hit my driver. I'm just going to hit giant slices and snap hooks all day. Unless you have something like a 14 or 15 degree driver, you can't make it work if you have way too much shaft lean. So that's kind of our thresholds, because if we start leaning it too far forward past that point, the ball will never get up in the air and never have enough spin. We start going back the other way, we lose too much distance and we can't make solid contacts. So somewhere between shaft straight up and down and getting our left hand over our left foot. Now, having understood that, you get to determine what you want to do. Now, here's my recommendation. If you swing relatively slow, if you swing your driver like 50, 60, 70 miles per hour, which means you're hitting the ball like 100, 150, 200, maybe 225 yards off the tee, somewhere in that range, well, you should be a player who aims to have your shaft closer to being straight up and down by impact. If you hit your driver anywhere from like 220 yards to like 300 yards, you should be somewhere more in the middle over here. And if you can hit your driver like 310, 320, or even more, then you can get more to getting your hands more towards your left foot in this direction, because you have enough speed to create height and spin on your golf ball. So as your spin increases, you can afford to have more forward shaft lean as you get to impact. Now that we understand that, hopefully you have an idea of where you're trying to aim, because the combination of how strong or how weak our grip is and how much we're going to lean the shaft forward is going to determine where we should be setting this hanger during our swing. Now, how does that affect the hanger? Well, the more I lean the shaft forward, watch what happens with the club face. If we watch the face over here, the more I lean the shaft forward, it shoves the face more open. The more I lean the shaft backwards, it makes the club face get closed to the left. So understanding that, because the face is going to get more open in this direction, with our hands and with our grip, we better manually close down the face to make this work. That means the hanger needs to be turned more away from the target. The more it turns away from the target, the more I have to close down the club face to make that hanger touch. So if I close down the face and I lean the shaft forward, now my face is square, now it's matching up to where I want it to be. On the flip side, if we start to lean the shaft more vertical in this direction, the face naturally wants to close more down to the left, which means we can have this hanger be more vertical on the club. The more we get this club vertical, the hanger vertical and the club face being square, the less I need to start closing down the face in this direction, because the adding loft is already doing that for me. So the point being is, the more you get the shaft straight up and down at impact, the more vertical your hanger can be. The more you lean the shaft forward, the more the hanger needs to be twisted away from the target to accommodate for that. So those are the general principles behind it. Now that we understand that, let's make this very simple on ourselves. Instead of thinking, okay, what's my grip strength and what's my shaft lean and how do I do the addition on all these things, simply rehearse where you want the club to be at impact. If you want it to be straight up and down, you want it to be over your left foot, or you want it to be somewhere in between, establish that before anything else. I recommend just starting somewhere in between and then scaling for what you need later. So have a little bit of shaft lean here and say, okay, now I'm going to grip the club with whatever my normal grip is. Now from there, the hanger should already be touching if I've already preset my shaft lean. The face should be square, shaft lean should be preset, and the hanger should be touching. If it's not, then you twist the hanger until it is touching, and now you know, well, that's where I want to be at impact, so that's where the hanger needs to be for me. So right now, I have about a ½ an inch of space here, so I'm going to twist this hanger about a ½ an inch towards the target in this direction. Now when I preset where I want my shaft to be at impact, well, that hanger is now touching nice and lightly on my forearms to support my shaft lean, and now when I'm hitting shots, I'm looking to make that hanger touch when I get to impact, and I've adjusted for my needs, I've adjusted for my grip, and I've adjusted for that shaft lean simply by saying, okay, this is my natural grip, this is the shaft lean I want, and I've twisted that hanger where it needs to be, and now I know it's in position. Just like if I had a very strong grip, let's say my hand was turned over here, if I had a very strong grip and I had a bunch of shaft lean in this direction, I would twist the grip, the hanger wherever I needed to on this grip to make sure the hanger was touching, and now that I have a strong grip, when I get to impact, now it's touching and it's matching up for what my needs are. So basically, grab the club with your natural grip, preset your shaft lean, and then just twist the club, the hanger on the club, wherever you need to so that it's touching right there. And now that you've preset your impact position and you've rehearsed where you want it to be, you know the hanger is in position for you. From there, you're just hitting shots. You're making sure, most importantly, when you're hitting shots, the hanger is touching in your forearm at impact. If you want to make it touch sooner, that's absolutely fine. If you're making it touch last second at impact, that's fine. The only moment it really matters is at impact. Again, everybody's going to do it differently. Some people are going to be like Dustin Johnson. He will bow his wrist immediately, and that hanger would immediately touch and never leave his forearm. Some people are going to make the hanger not touch for the backswing, and then it's going to start touching at the top of their swing, and then they keep it touching for the rest of their downswing. Some people won't have it touch in the backswing or the top of the swing, and then in transition, they'll start to make it touch. Other people will do the same thing where it's not touching. They won't have it touch in the downswing for the first part, and then it will start to touch and stay touching in impact. And the other set of people will do it all the way last second, right into impact, and then the hanger will touch. Again, when you do it, I don't really care. That's up to you. That's whatever most comfortable for you, what's most natural, whatever works best for you. The only time it matters is when we're hitting the golf ball, because that's when we need the face to be square. So you figure out your timing and what feels best for you. But as long as you set up that hanger properly for your grip and how much shaft lean you want to have, and the hanger's touching by impact, well, then you're going to have the ability to square up the club face. And most importantly, you're getting a direct feedback to know that you're squaring up the club face. That way it can be very consistent. If you get good at that, your ball is going to start on line basically every time. Then you might have to get your low point right and your path right and your contact good to make sure your ball stays on line. But at least your ball is going to start on line because you're having control of your club face. So if you have any type of club face issues, whether it's too much loft, too little loft, your face is open, closed, you're hitting hooks, you're hitting slices, you have a really weak grip and you need to train that, or you have a really strong grip, you need to train it, or you need to match up your neutral grip, whatever it is, if you need more control of your club face, this is the drill for you.